Oh, good evening. Welcome to another episode of Unscripted, Unfiltered on Notoriously Opinionated. It's your man that goes by many names and monikers. Scrap the film guru. What's happening? Hey, so it's gonna be a little different feel tonight. Is we got some different shit going on, right? We got some we elevating on Notoriously Opinionated. I'm trying to tell you, we about to go to the roof, Alice. All right, so tonight we are going to be talking about something it's a really important issue, a really important topic. We're gonna dive into the lack of or mental health issues in the Black community, right? So we're gonna have a lot of notoriously opinionated conversations, and while those are welcome, this is a sensitive topic, and so we're gonna dive into it with sensitivity, with grace, but also with some understanding and some sense. What I really want to know is, like, why is it that Black people don't seek help? Why is it that Black men, why is it that Black women, why is it Black people don't tend to seek professional help when it comes to their mental health? Why is it that they feel that they have to fight that battle alone, right? And it's a battle of the mind. So why is it fought alone? I don't know if there are many warriors that last too long when they fight by themselves against a battalion. That's I don't know. Maybe they can hang out. Maybe they can get on some Achilles type shit, and and then there it is. But we are gonna get into some historical, some cultural, possibly some systemic reasons as to why it is. Or is it even a reason at all? And is it, pun intended, literally all in our head? So these are some things we're gonna get into tonight on Notoriously Opinionated. I have an extremely talented panel of guests, and we're gonna kick it off, and we're gonna have a little fun tonight on Notoriously Opinionated. Let's go. What up, though? Hey, man, what is going on? Why am I not getting everybody's? Hold on. Oh, okay. I think I know what it is. If I take this off, then no, still didn't get y'all names, huh? I wonder why y'all names ain't. Okay, I have no idea. There we go.
Here it is.
There we go. Let me play around with it for a second. We're gonna figure this out together.
Difficulties.
What's happening? What's happening? What's happening? Hey man, we gonna allow this illustrious panel of guests to introduce themselves. We're gonna start with my brother on the lower left, and because you're the first time panelist on Notoriously Opinionated, so we're gonna start with you.
So that's me, right?
That would be you.
Right. Hi, I'm Cecil Watry. I am a licensed clinical social worker. I am the CEO and founder of the Kansas City Black Mental Health Initiative.
That's what's up. And and my illustrious community activist extraordinaire. Let me get who you are.
I'm just Johnny Walden, man. Junior.
Come on, bro. Like for real. Like that's
I only
what
cover
what.
the businesses. I work with my man Cecil down there. Um, you know what? I ain't gonna shamelessly plug anything right now, but you know, got the new nonprofit on the horizon. I'll talk about that at the end of the show.
Yeah. This wrong
What I
segment, bro.
said.
Wrong segment. Wrong segment. You know
Until
what I'm saying?
then, I'm Johnny Waller. Where's that? Right there, Johnny Waller Jr.
I bet.
All right, you gonna give me like some kind of hallucination thing with you flipping back and forth like that though, bro.
Hey man, I'm showing people what I got going on, man. I'm showing people something. You
I
did.
see you go. All right.
How's that? Is that better?
Yeah, I appreciate that.
All right. Uh, and my co-host, what's going on, bro?
Hey, slow motion. I'm Phoenix Smoke, and I think what I bring to this conversation tonight is I'm black and opinionated.
Black, you black in the pit. Hey, that is two of the three things that you need to be in this particular conversation. So yeah, we good. We good. All right.
All right.
Number one, I think one of the things that we uh don't have, especially and we're gonna talk about the black men side of this, you know what I'm saying, is is people actually genuinely being concerned about us and having our best interests at heart. So with that in mind, man, how y'all doing today, brothers? How's everybody go? How was y'all day today? How was your day? Cecil, how was your day today, bro?
Ooh, you gonna ask me? You gonna have to ask me. You know what? The last 24 hours have been interesting. I'll just say this being interesting. I'm currently at our illustrious. I'm at a hospital right now, hanging out. So it's been okay. I'm just happy right now that I'm getting some answers to some questions that I've been needing to know for a long time. I'll put it that way.
Absolutely. Johnny, how your day been, bro? This might not have been the time to get to know each other right now. Like
I mean, it's cold outside.
this might have been a bad day to do a wellness check.
Nah. So it's interestingly enough. So you know, in 2008, yesterday, where you just go, brother. You don't stay on one camera.
All right, I'm gonna stay right here for a minute.
I appreciate that. So in 2008, yesterday, anybody who knows me know I made a decision to take my son off of life support, and subsequently he passed away. His birthday is on Saturday, so he passed away. He was 3 years old, and I buried him the day before his birthday. And so obviously that plays a tremendous impact on my March and everything that happens, and consequently enough, talking about uh, mental health. Because at that time, when my son passed away, I was angry, upset. I felt this wide range of emotions. To the point my mother ended up calling like psychiatric people. It was like, hey, he about to like, there's no good outcome to this, right? And um, so that's what I've been dealing with. I mean, so he passed away on March the 4th. His birthday is Saturday, March the 8th. So that's kind of where I'm at right now. Right? So my day is, I don't know. Like I'm good, not good, but not good.
Right.
Yo, black man, thanks for sharing.
Nah, real rap.
Yeah.
Considering the topic, I think it's important.
Very important.
Yeah.
Definitely can get into that. So I don't mean to jump in because Smoke, I want to ask you how your day was because I know that's probably you the next one to ask. So, brother,
You
how
know
was
what?
your day?
Yeah, I'm gonna switch because this computer. So let's do this. Let's switch it real quick. All right, cool. Sorry about that. I'll switch to my phone laptop to start acting stupid for some reason. Okay, sorry about that. Day man was pretty interesting. Just grinding, man. Trying to put together deals and things that I need to move forward. And so a lot of phone calls all over the place. Clean up loose ends. So yeah, beautiful day in the neighborhood, right?
All right.
Dig that.
Okay.
So, talking about mental health and days that we had, I actually had a great day. I was focused. Uh, I didn't have nothing that stressed me out at work. That's always a blessing. You dig? Not, and it's not that things didn't happen that could have stressed me out. It's the fact that, and I read one of my homeboys' quotes today. He said, "It's not about," and I'm paraphrasing because I don't remember exactly what it said. I just remember the impact that it had on me. The quote said, "It's not about eliminating your negative thoughts or just negative things out of your life. That's impossible to do. It's about relegating your response to them. That's the thing. And so it's not that the negative things aren't going to come, but you don't have to respond in a mirror image. You don't have to respond negatively. So that's kind of where I'm at today with just things in general, which is why I could be so focused and have 2 or 3 cameras going on and you know
Like a little kid with some toys at Christmas. I'm gonna sell them all of it. We gonna switch you. We gonna do all this. And look what I can do, Mom.
look what I can do. I can go to this one, I can go to this one, I can go back to that one, and then I can go back to that one. But on a real serious tip, I'm like a few days removed myself from a really tough day. March 1st, 2019, my father transitioned. And that's all. March 1st is always a tough day for me. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just rough. Because that was my dude. You know what I'm saying? Like that was my guy. And it was really tough some years ago, but I I keep my father's memory alive, and yeah, so I need to kind of decompress, you know, whatever the African word is for wusa, you know what I'm saying, like whatever that word is. So yeah, but today, great. I'm Gucci. But let's get into it, man. Let's for real get into it. So I'm just curious. So I'm gonna put this up. Right. I just need to know the next thing we're gonna talk about on the pod. Like, why is it that black people have a stigma? Black men, black women have this stigma of, I don't want to go see a mental health therapist. There's nothing wrong with me mentally. I'm good. Why is it that we do that? Is it a us thing? And I mean by us, I mean literally us individually. Is it us as a people? Is there a reason or reasons behind it? What is the freaking deal?
Yeah, so I'm gonna say this, and then I'm gonna punt it to Cecil.
Hold on, before you answer, bro. The topic, Ashley, since you clearly wasn't listening at the top of the show, is the topic is I'm gonna tell you the name of the show. The name of the show is Black Minds, Real Issues, a mental health discussion. Go, Johnny.
Yeah, so a couple of months ago, we were in Community Voices, and anybody, you can look up, you can Google me, Johnny Lawler Jr., you can Google Cecil or Kansas City Black Mental Health Initiative, and so we did a series of articles about this very topic, and for our community, because it is like what people don't understand. We are in the midst of a mental health crisis, and those of us, like, everybody goes and they work and they do their day-to-day thing, and we don't truly actually what's going on. And so we did that segment to answer the question of, like, most of the time, if you're African American, we always hear the terms, hey, like, you crazy, oh, that boy crazy, or this, that, and the other. And so and we've taken that, and then, like, I had told someone the other day, again, I'll let Cecil speak more to this, like, even if you go see a therapist and you're talking about something, given what's going on in the what's going on in our country today, if you have a problem at work and it's really related to your race, and then you go in and you see a therapist and you're explaining it to them, if you don't have a therapist who is culturally competent or understands that you're talking about, like, that is true, and you're talking about this, and that person may not even understand exactly what you're talking about. Like, it's hard to explain racism or racist feelings to a white person because they've never experienced that. Like, never. Right? So you could be talking like, no, they did X, Y, Z. And they might tell you, like, I think you're overreacting. And you're like, wait, what? No, I don't think so. But they don't know because they've never been in that. They've never been a minority, right? Black people represent, last count, 12% of the population, right? So overwhelming majority of the population is white. And they've always enjoyed status and privilege and economic opportunity and education and all of these things. And so it's hard to explain racism to somebody who's always been in that space. It's like me explaining quantum physics to somebody. They'll be like, or me asking what's heavy water, and people be like, the water that's heavy? Like, no, that's not what that means, right? And so that's kind of what we talked about in these series of articles in the community voice. And then Cecil, who's an expert in his field, because we've been talking about people being experts in their field for a minute, can truly answer that because that's what he does every day.
Yeah, I mean, so there's so many ways to kind of even answer this question. Because at first we can go just traditional, like just so one of the reasons why Black folks don't believe into therapy is because we have traditional paradigms that are saturated in survival. Your grandparents told you that's for white folks because who wants you to go in and be as vulnerable as you can to another white person who you are hoping has the availability to see where you're coming from. When you have a field of individuals or mental health professionals that about less than 5% look like you. So that's just off jump. So two, the second thing is just where the information comes from. So a lot of foundational psychology or Freud or psychoanalysis, the foundation of what we would call mental health today and how it's served, it's all kind of more or less saturated in appropriation. Freud was a a Jew from Germany who came to America to more or less bring psychoanalysis to be able to try to be able to kind of break through some of the isms that are actually going on, racism, bigotry, stuff like that. And that actually he wanted to do that. He wanted it for social workers and educators. But much like everything that ends up in America, it gets appropriated. It gets appropriated by the American Medical Association. And then what you end up having is you have people getting institutionalized, and you have individuals more or less getting stuck in institutions where other people are making determinations on your cultural experience. Please understand that we do have, foundational culture that has us talking to our ancestors. But in this culture, schizoaffective disorder, anything on that schizoaffective spectrum is not seen as anything that's really conducive for, I would just say, white folks. So what you end up having is you have diagnoses that end up falling into boxes that don't necessarily fall into culture. So when that happens, a stigma kind of comes out because of the fact that people are literally telling you about yourself when you have traditional experiences, stories that are told from place to place. And then, lastly, the thing is, it's mostly about safety. Because how often do Black people feel safe about more or less being expressive? And I just mean that in the sense of when we talk about traditional paradigms, what has been passed on to us by Black folks who tell us what we need to do in order to survive. How did we navigate this world? The biggest thing that also is one of the biggest reasons why I don't think that we get a chance to kind of buy into therapy is because of the fact that when you look at the medical model is based off of symptom reduction. I actually watched another therapist talk about this today, where it rubbed a lot of people the wrong way when she was saying more or less therapy as it is right now is more or less teaching you coping skills for an unrealistic situation. It's more or less teaching you compliance. It's teaching you how to operate in a perfect situation. Oh, so brother, you got your lights turned off today. Oh, go do some coping skills. That's not going to get my lights turned back on. You're not being realistic. So a lot of times when Black people face unrealistic conversations like that, well, what am I talking to you for? I just told you, my people my house just got shot up. My lights just got turned off, and you telling me to do coping skills. So you're expecting my symptoms to go down. I told you I was angry, and I'm pissed off. So symptom reduction is not an indicator of healing for Black folks. So if that's the medical model, then already walking into the door, you're kind of stuck and you feel like you're looking at people. So we could talk there. We could also talk about the systems that are also in place, because you also have to address the systems. We have systems that are based on the medical model, which means that diagnosis is based off of coding, which means it's based off of billing to make sure that they get paid. But you also have high turnover. You also have waiting lists, and you don't have people who look like you. And oftentimes a community health, mental health program is often at its foundation with 23-year-old Black adjacent individuals who are more or less doing clinical supervision to be able to go into private practice. And oftentimes, even when those Black practitioners take that same route, by the time you get to private practice, you're taking private pay, because the insurance don't necessarily also create a barrier for you to seek reimbursement, especially when it comes to Medicaid. You can have 10 clients and you can see all 10 of those clients, and Medicaid can go, oh yeah, we pay you for 10, but we want our money back for 8 because we didn't like what you did. Now you owe them. So why would I take clients for that insurance that most of my people have? So I'm taking private pay. So what do my clients look like? So all of this is a part of the stigmatization that actually goes into Black mental wellness, because we often get to a point where we start talking about therapy and we start talking about psychiatry, and we start talking about research, and we don't ever get to the place where we start asking for psychiatrists and psychologists, not realizing a psychologist is a researcher and a psychiatrist is a medical doctor who's going to give you medication. So when we start to break down what these are, like what our professions are, what our disciplines are, what our modalities are for the Black lens, that's the only way we really can destigmatize, because just psychology and everything on this basis it doesn't look like it's for Black folks, and that's because it originally is not.
I'm glad you said that. So that is and always has been my understanding. The original reason why, um, they say that therapy is for Black folks is because originally it wasn't. Like you got to realize psychology has been around for centuries. You know what I'm saying? Psychology has been around for more centuries than it has been in westernized psychology. Psychology is really freaking old, for real. It's ancient.
Yes.
And it only means kind of adjacent what it means now. It had a way deeper, way more profound meaning before now. But how do you think it would feel to go into a place and not feel understood, not feel supported, because the things that you're talking about and the things that's being relayed to you weren't built for you? We're talking about Jim Crow era type stuff. We're talking the mentality of white folks that thought that our brains were smaller than theirs, and thus we were less competent than they are. And they're spewing all this back at you, and now you're sitting there thinking, why am I even here? Well, that got passed down through generations, as far as I'm concerned. And it went from and then you got what kind of bleeds over into it is the medical field. You got things like the Tuskegee experiment that did not help the trust that Black people have in medical, mental, psychiatry. Like Cecil was saying, you know what I'm saying? Like the psychiatry part can dole out medication. We don't trust people that dole out medication because y'all gave us syphilis. You know what I'm saying? So that whole thing to me is why historically Black people is like, yeah, all that psychology, psychiatry, mental health stuff, that's white people stuff. That ain't for us.
Well, here's something I want to say on that real quick. That's just been, in my opinion, that's just been a talking point for us as a culture. I don't know how long, but recently, right? But I think we believed in counselors. The only thing is, our counselors were our pastors. You know what I'm saying? We used to go to church, so by going to church, that's where we got our counseling from. And of course, they're not trained counselors or anything, but that's where I think that's where we were still getting help, just not from a professional licensed individual per se.
I agree. I agree. There's a list of reasons. I know. Here, I'll put it to you like this: these are talking points, but also people people have confirmation bias in talking points. Like, in other words, oh man, that's why right there. Because the biggest thing that I would say also is the fact that we don't acknowledge the ones that we do have had, or have more or less brought us forward. Like, for example, and we are Black mental health professionals are integrated in our history and have brought us forward. And what we often end up having also, because of the stigmatization, is epistemic trespassers. And what I mean by that is, you do have pastors who do feel compelled to be able to do counseling and want to do counseling at that level without the expertise to do so. So you're an expert in theology and not an expert in any modalities or mental health services. So what ends up happening is it's Ben what's his name? Ben Carson with HUD, that wonderful neuroscientist. And in all honesty, I would if I had to have neuroscience done on my child, then that would probably be it, top one, because he would understand. But when it comes to HUD housing, I'm not going to talk to him about that. I don't want to talk to him about that. And if he tried to talk to me about that, I would tell him to stop. But the thing is that that's often not what happens in our communities. I also want to point out that, historically speaking, the other thing that took place is the aspect of integration happening. When we had Black doctors, we had Black lawyers, we had Black businesses. Again, we have Black mental health professionals. There's a wonderful story about a clinic that was set up in Harlem during the Harlem Renaissance that actually treated us for us. When you look at Brown versus Education, you'll find the Bobo doll experiment. You'll find relational behavioral therapy, RBT. That relational behavioral therapy, if you start looking at those who are practitioners of it, they all look like us. But see, we don't talk about that. We don't lift up the ones that we do have. We don't even lift up those psychiatrists that look at alternative means for medication, because there have been alternative means used in the past. We don't acknowledge the fact that we have practitioners right now who are using indigenous approaches. In other words, approaches that were done way on the motherland to be able to manage, maintain, and sustain your mind, body, and the medicine that you can put into yourself when it comes to how you breathe, how you act, how you move. And we are now finding out that through neuroscience, all this stuff is true. That how when we talk about meditation, we talk about being present. That's indigenous practices that actually now is being proven with neuroscience. Even some of the stuff that Freud was talking about. Now, he said a lot of crazy shit, for real. He did. He said a lot of crazy shit. You're trying to sleep with your mom and your daddy. He was talking about incest taboo to make sure that if you're dating someone and you see the whole what's it called? A lady in the streets and a freak in the sheets. That whole terminology, that's based off of incest taboo. Because what you're trying to actually get away from is when this person is wiping your baby's butt, you trying to look at them that other way when they didn't have no clothes on. So the brain is often conflicting with itself. Our biology conflicts with our society. And that's why a lot of our indigenous practices that we actually did to maintain and sustain get lost in the wind, especially when it comes to integration. Because you have doctors who are practicing practices that are long gone, and then we have to all go to a white doctor. Same thing happens. So what happens to the Black doctor? It dissipates. So when you talk about a field that's already in question, that's already saturated in what I would call whiteness, it becomes a place where you don't even want to see one. You look at me and you might think that, I don't know what you up to, buddy. Like you say a therapist, but you're going through, you might know all these modalities from these white modalities. But then again, who are you to say that you know exactly what I'm going through, and why would I feel comfortable trusting you with this information? We don't ever get a chance to actually acknowledge the fact that we do have mental health professionals or mental health experts in our community, and that we need to lean on them. We're often trying to tell them what to do.
Well, what are the reasons? So before we can get to why we don't, or I guess one of the things that will go into why we don't discuss things with mental health professionals is because we have to get to an understanding of why we won't admit them to ourselves. Like why is it? I was out with the fellas one night, right? I'm out with the fellas. We had just left some event, and I had my camera with me, of course. So I got my camera with me, and I go out to the car, get the camera, come back in. I'm like, hey, I'm about to record us. It's something I want to do. I had seen it on social media earlier that day, and I was just curious as to how the fellas would think about it and what they would say. So I'm like, hey, we gonna do Dear Black Man, right? And so it was like, so I was like, don't even trip, just answer the question. Dear Black Man, it's okay to fill in the blank, right? And at the end of it, I put what I said last, and what I was saying was, Dear Black Man, it's okay to not be okay, right? It really is okay to not be okay. And so we have to get to why we feel either A, it's not okay to not be okay, or it's not okay to tell somebody that we're not okay, or it's not okay to not be okay, because not being okay makes me weak. It makes me less than a man. It makes me less than, right? And so that's what I've come up with as to why a lot of, and I'm speaking specifically about black men. I don't think I've
I
ever.
love it. No, because we about to go way. We can go. We about to go there.
Let's go.
Let me just say this. So, traditional paradigm saturated in survival. A black man's feelings, emotions, thoughts would lead to his death. Traditionally. And I'm saying if we were to go 100 years ago, we would go 200 years ago, 300 years ago, 400 years ago, I'm sorry, quiet is kept because my ability to express myself gets me killed, gets my family separated from me, gets me locked up. After the Civil War, I could be walking down the street. 13th Amendment says that we free, but we free unless I'm a criminal. So then I get locked up just for being a black guy on a Friday night. So then I'm on the chain gang. Then I gotta come home. Then I gotta go find work. Then I gotta make sure that I don't look at anybody funny, so that I don't make sure I don't have any expression whatsoever that can be seen as a threat, other than the fact that what I'm here to do is to work, be seen, not heard. And that, so based off the expectation of our counterpart of the majority and the oppressive systems that we live in, it is imperative to navigate this space through survival, which I believe is what manifests the hustle mentality. The hustle mentality, a brother can hustle every day of his life and never live one day in it. Period.
Oh, real right.
Because the availability to actually hustle is built into our DNA based off of here. I'm just gonna say work, slave, production. What is your worth as a black man? It's not based off your availability to express yourself, because if you express yourself, you express weakness and your inability to produce. You're telling me why you can't produce, or what's a barrier to your production. So when you start to actually identify yourself as a tool, as a tool to hustle, then that becomes the paradigm in which you keep and you pass on to survive. Young man, do you know what you're about to do? You need to be out here hustling. You need to make sure that you're on your grind. Then you hear the terminology and you hear it from elders, and it gets cascaded on and cascaded on and cascaded on. So what ends up happening is literally by the time you get fourth, fifth generation around, why aren't you going to school? I'm supposed to be working around. I got work to do. We got work in these streets. We got shit to do. Look, like I got a family to take care of. And while you talking about something that really is not for me, because technically it wasn't for me, and then you talking about what I have to do to survive this space. See, I said it earlier, but symptom reduction is not an indicator of healing, because of the fact
did you freeze or
you trying not to? Oh, did I lose y'all? No, I'm just saying this. This is kind of my point. Our emotional intelligence has been dwarfed and pushed down and suppressed and repressed to the point where we believe that is what a man is. A man, it doesn't necessarily tap into, or he only taps into two of his emotions. And then we kind of put that into the model of a black man. But I can tell you this right now, that 95% of the people that were murdered in this city were black men, and 96% of the people that did the murdering was black men. So when we start talking about the hustle puts us at competition, and it's based off of our inability to manage or feel, not even manage our emotions. Because managing emotions means you have to acknowledge that they're there.
Exactly.
Yeah. So,
and you got to remember, and so I say this all the time. I used to tell my group to feel your emotions but control your behavior. But when you talk about black people or African American or whatever term you want to add to it, if you look at black people have been turned into consumers into this what we're gonna call white America. And so when you look at, I'll give you a prime example. And when we talk about like how mental health fits into consumerism overall, and especially for the black for a black person, I went on Facebook one day and I wrote a post, and the post sounded sad in nature. So Facebook, the algorithm, sent me a message and said, "We have blocked your post because it expressed a negative emotion." Right? So I screenshotted it because I was like, "Oh, look at them." If you notice, like people want to present themselves as happy, there's no problems, they're this because people want you to engage. And the more you engage, the more it learns about you and the more products it can sell you. That system was never designed for black people. So if you take what Cecil is talking about and you couple that with the identity that, you know, we could tout all day that we have this 1.8 trillion dollars worth of consumer spending power, but in essence, they have turned black people into simply consumers, right? And so that does not address any of our economic challenges, our mental health challenges, the health disparities, and no one's talking about environmental disparities as well that are happening in our community, right? And so once you couple that being built on top of this white system, then you kind of you get it from all sides. And so it's very hard to navigate these spaces because lots of people don't have that emotional regulation. There's an HBO special right now, and I don't know if people have seen it, but it documents the civil rights in America during the 60s up until 1965. So it covers the March, the Selma, the 1964 Civil Rights Act. And if you really watch that documentary and then listen to what Cecil was saying, you see that play out historically in real time because there's videos about what has happened to Black America, more particularly the black man. The reason why my family moved, and again, this is directly what Cecil's. The reason why I'm here talking to you on this podcast is my great grandfather said something wrong to a white man in Mississippi. So my family had to pack up everybody, put everybody in the car, and leave Mississippi because they was on their way to lynch that brother, my great grandfather, and that's essentially how I came here during one of those times of great migration. And so we are, despite the narrative, I think I talked about this last time, the narrative of watermelon, despite the narrative of we're lazy, we're this, we're that, Cecil is hustle, man. We got to do this. We got to do that. We got to hustle. You can't be no bitch. You can't be no punk. You can't do this. What you crying for? Whatever. Shut the fuck up. Like, we experience that on a day-to-day basis, and it's very unfucking healthy. It's very.
I think it's interesting. Excuse me. I think it's interesting what Cecil was saying because you're absolutely right. We are always, taught to hustle, right? But when you think about it too, when you hustling, depending on if it's on the streets or whatnot, there's only so many consumers, and then you also hustling, you competing with everybody else. And so I think that's what led to like a lot of the violence because we know if this is our block, this is our neighborhood that we hustle at, and if I get it popping or if I got, this many consumers, there's only so many people out here consuming in the sense of that are willing to pay for particular services, et cetera, or whatnot. And so it's always seemed like there was a stepping on the toes. And I'm thinking it from a street hustler standpoint, to be honest with you.
The whole I'm sorry. To me, The Wire was about real estate. Like that's all it was about. You here, you in my spot, move.
That part. Mm-hmm. Yep, that part.
I think people forget 75% of when we talk about the economy, this magic word that everybody uses, 75% of that is dictated by consumer spending. 75% is dictated by consumer spending. And so what that really means is how do we get your dollar? And so, earlier today I was looking at empathy, right? Are we empathetic, right? Even in the sense of whether, we're having this conversation and we're talking about the mental health crisis that affects our nation, especially men of color. But do we have the empathy to show that? And what people don't understand is organizations and companies practice empathy every day. When you are marketed to, there's things called personas, and if you've never created a persona, like any business who really wants to move forward, they're going to create this persona, and this persona is really saying, here's John Doe. John Doe works at this particular job. John Doe likes to ski, and he's a snowbird. John Doe likes this, and then it gets to their pain points, and he hates this, and he doesn't like this, and he doesn't like this. And so they're empathetic to you as a consumer. That has nothing, irrespective of your mental health. If you look at social media, right? So black people, we are the least likely to go seek help, right? You couple that with the TikTok, and you couple that with the Facebook and the social media. Social media, when white people are saying social media is dangerous to white people, what do you think it does to us? Again, I'm gonna say that again. If white people, and they're gonna protect their own, if white people think social media is dangerous to white people, what do you think it does to us?
You draw two good points. I'm gonna take one step back on this when we're talking about black men first, before we get into consumerism. Gabor Matai, a Canadian doctor. I was going to physician, studies attachment, and I've been really leaning into attachment theory. John Bowlby, 1940s during World War II, was trying to figure out how we were attaching to each other, because it's actually one of the biggest theories that we really need to focus on now. There's several different types of attachment. Attachment, what Gabor Matai says is that attachment is an essential need. In other words, one human cannot grow without another. Literally, if all four of us were age one in this room with all the food and all the resources, nobody else, we would not make it out of this room, because of the fact we do not have the capacity to do that reptiles do. Like reptiles, shoot these eggs, boom, 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 and I'm gone. And then an alligator will already have teeth and be gone. So when you get to birds, it's in us. In mammals, we tend to need attachment in order to survive. So that's an essential need. Then he says there's this other need, the humanistic need, which is for authenticity, to know how you feel, to know who you are, to know that you're expressing yourself. And the first people that deny your authenticity are your people, because they say, "Hey, yo, you ain't hurt. Get up." I mean, if you got a kid, if you've seen somebody get hurt, come on, quit all that. It's little, it's subtle. It doesn't even feel like you really did anything. And I do it all the time. I do it now. I'll probably do it tomorrow. I'll probably do it. I did it last night, and I'm probably gonna do it again today. But I'm gonna say, hey, that didn't hurt that bad. Yo, that wasn't as bad as you think. Hey, know what you're feeling, thinking, and saying is not exactly the way you think you feel or say it is happening to you. And then the brain goes, wait, hold on, time out. I hurt myself. And I'm experiencing pain, and you're telling me the pain that I'm experiencing is not real. And you grow up with that attachment, and it disorganizes. So what you constantly find are these two things: your attachment in conflict with your authenticity. The person you're attached to is, for a black man, we often have disorganized attachment with our black figures, even if they are in the home. And the reason why is because your source of safety is also your source of fear. So if you're constantly denying your authenticity, what happens to your mental health as you grow up? What happens to the black boy as he grows up with the inability, being told to shut the fuck up? that what he says and what he does and how he feels is invalidated immediately. And so I need you to push all that shit down, young man. And I need you to understand, in order for you to attach with other brothers, you're going to have to push all this shit down. What does that do to us? But make a generation of individuals who have disorganized attachment with each other. Where my source of safety, me being around my partners, is also my source of fear, because he got a cool partners over there and they coming for us. And then then I cascade into the consumerism, or more along the lines of capitalism, where we get into this place of competition, which is not based on our roots. When we talk about community, we talk about self-sustaining that community. Oftentimes when we are in competition with each other, or take a business model or a hustle approach to anything, I have to out-hustle you. I got to out-hustle you. Bro, I see what you got. But me and Johnny had this conversation. I'm just going to, and the easiest way to put this is through two different words: jealousy and envy. So envy is, bro, I see what you got. Damn, I wish I had what you had. I wish I had what you had. Man, I'm envious of what you got. Man, that's amazing. And then there's jealousy. I want what you got. I'm mad because you got it. Matter of fact, I'm not even mad at what you're doing. I like what you're doing. I just don't want you to do it. Matter of fact, I want to do it. So guess what? I'm going to come and I'm going to take it from. That's jealousy. So when we start talking about consumerism and capitalism, and to add in the last part, in empathy, the more you know about how the availability, the capacity of somebody and how they feel and move and shake and how they do, that's how you get them. One way or another, that's how you get them. Because there is this thing where we often talk about empathy like this wonderful, great thing. And then we don't ever talk about dark empathy, where those forensic psychologists who sit here are manhunters. Those are dark empaths, because they don't have to kill anybody. They can just play it out in their head, think about it, plan it out, like I can, and even figure out how to get away with it, which is the reason why they're absolutely attuned to being able to catch people who do. Dr. Nicole Price has a TED Talk on learning empathy from a pimp.
That she does.
That she does.
Yeah.
So, but dark empaths often utilize what they have, what they can know and learn about a person, to be able to get what they want from the person, to exploit, to extract, to get what is needed from them. So constantly we talk, when we look at stuff like when we watch people like marketing, and the aspect of actually trying to understand the consumer. But when we talk about mental health, coming full circle around mental health, when we talk about who's marketing mental wellness to Black folks, who's actually having an empathetic place, or who's actually taking an empathetic place with Black men in order to allow them to have that authenticity, understand that vulnerability is about adaptability, not weakness. Because in how you move, but all this gets lost in the wash because we have these lanes that social media kind of puts us in, and we only see what we want to see.
Yeah, that's true, and it part of the problem is to answer some of your questions. Is cultural, right? Like it is absolutely cultural. B is by design, like it's part of consumerism, it's part of business. Adam Smith, 1776, A Wealth of the Nation. It is strictly by design, and us, unfortunately, we are trapped in a society that was ran or designed by us, and so some of the blowback, as I would call it, really hyper focus on us because we are the minority class. We didn't design these systems. We didn't create these systems, but they are more daunting on us because we are minorities and we don't have the opportunity to control any of these systems. Like we did not build these institutions. We did not, whether that's when we're talking about prisons, whether that's schools, whether that's media, because
mental health hospitals,
Hospital, yeah, we were not the designers or the originators of these systems here in America, yet we are victim to them, and so it really becomes hard to navigate some of these spaces when you talk about hyper masculine people. Like, where did that come from? And so there's this thing. It's called the Hofstede analysis, and and again, some of this stuff people know, so it's not like people don't know this. Like this is taught actually in school, but there's a Hofstede analysis, and it talks about collectivism versus individualism, but it also talks about masculine versus feminine. And so I think you can guess which country in the entire world ranks #1 on individualism.
Oh, that was the final Jeopardy question yesterday. Hold up. The United States.
The United States of America. I think they scored like a 91 out of 100. Like the highest score of any country in the world. And there's a reason for that. And so when you start talking about collectivism, so in the Black community, if we were to talk about collectivism and from a cultural aspect, we would say like, hey, it's okay for you to seek help as a collective, man. We understand, people need to seek help. It don't make you no punk. It don't make you no bitch. It doesn't make you soft. It doesn't make you any of these things that are have these negative connotations. Like, no, it's okay. But as an individual and someone who's masculine, right? It's you gotta go see what, bro. Ain't nothing wrong. Man, shut the fuck up, bro. Ain't nothing wrong with you.
But we're not told that enough. We don't hear that enough, and more importantly, we don't see it enough. You know what I'm saying?
Again, but listen to what I said earlier. Yeah. So representation matters, and so we have to start thinking about this from a system change standpoint, right? If you don't see Cecil as a real licensed therapist, ain't none of us licensed for shit. I mean, we could do. Let me take that back. We do our own. We good in our lane and what we do, right. But we not licensed to do this.
He got all kind of letters behind his name down there.
Right. I felt some type of way. I ain't got no letters behind me.
Got all kind of. Cecil got.
But the thing becomes, it's like watching
15% of the alphabet down there.
Right. If you watch the Flintstones, if you were a kid, right? When you talk about nature versus nurture or clean slate theory, if you sat somewhere and you didn't know any better and you watched the Flintstones and you watched the Jetsons, ain't no niggas in the Flintstones, ain't no niggas in the Jetsons. And if you start watching TV and representation and seeing things, there is no one that looks like us represented anywhere. Again, 7 companies control 95% of the media, and it don't look like it took a cultural awakening or revolution for them to even start putting Black people on TV. And so if all you see in the Jetsons is white people, in the Flintstones is white people, and you growing up and you watching Perry Mason, who white, and you watching Murder, She Wrote, and you watching Dallas, and you watching this show, and you watching this movie, and they all white, and then you see white people going to get help, but you don't see yourself represented. That takes a toll. Like, that representation matters. We all talk about, hey man, let's play football back, because that's all we see. That's what people have told us we should do, right? No one's telling us to have an IPO or have a spec or be a therapist. Like, see, that's not what they're telling us. Like, go play football, go play basketball, go be a rapper. See how good y'all did in the Super Bowl halftime. Go do these things. That's what they're telling. You don't even hear people saying, go own the team. Go play for the team. Don't own the team. Go play for the team. And so we don't get to see as therapists, and I'm gonna let you speak, see, so I see you.
Yeah, I'm ready.
As therapists, as lawyers, as doctors, you gotta scramble to find a Black cardiologist. Where they at?
The dermatologist.
The dermatologist.
Yeah.
Like, where they at? And so could you imagine in your most, think about this, in your most vulnerable state, where you're about to, like me, I took my, I met with a team of doctors in a room by myself, and they told me your son has a 0% chance to live. Do you want to take him off life support? Right? And I'm faced with this decision. My first child, I'm faced with this decision. Do I wait for a miracle, or do I take my child off of life support? And uh, I see him, you know, health failing. He wasn't even there no more. I take him off life support. I go through this thing, and at that moment, after I realize my son has passed away, I want to cause harm to myself or someone else. And so I have to go explain this to who? Oh, this white woman who's never don't know. Like, what are we doing? And so that matters. All right, go ahead, see something.
So much to your point, I mentioned Brown versus the Board of Education. Kenneth and Mamie Clark, they RBT therapists who did the doll experiment to prove what was happening to kids in segregated schools. So that they had to have that availability capacity. They had to have that education to be able to do that. The thing that we lack most right now is credible messengers. And what I mean by credible messengers is in mental health. Right, it is credible. Look, you laughing? Nah, man, I'm going. Let me go there. I've been sitting holding this one. Hold on. Credible messengers to me are people with lived experience and education, because they went and got the education to be able to know, because they are a part of that. They have the lived experience. The lived experience of a Black person, that story is to be told by a Black person. So, like, what we do, what at Kansas City Black Mental Health Initiative, we want to make more Black therapists. And we want to make sure that they actually understand, like, we want to sit in the gaps of these services and these systems, because we need more adjacent systems that actually are built around us to self-sustain us. I need to see if we are seeing the murder rate go up for Black men, I need to see more Black mental health professionals.
Right.
I need to see more Black mental health professionals who are actually have come out of lived experience. I think we tend to lose that. We tend to try to cut corners with a lot of the stuff that we get and do, because of the fact we know the need is now. But again, I think this is where Johnny was talking about collectivism. It gets kind of polluted with hustler mentality, because essentially someone comes in and goes, yo, this is good right here. So you mean to tell me if I just talk about this, I get this, and now I have empathy to get all these people to get them to come over here, and then we got 100 programs. Got 100 programs that's helping 80 individuals, and nobody's getting anywhere, nobody's doing anything. So when we actually talk about actually having credible messengers, I'm literally talking about the fact that if anybody is even watching this right now and you think that you want to be a therapist, let's talk about the track in which you can actually go on to do it. What are you trying to center on? Are you trying to center on families? What do you experience? What transference have you experienced in your life that you go, hey, no, I really want to do something about this, because there's a gap in the availability for us to be able to address the issue. But again, to me, all Black mental health centers around is authenticity. The availability to be authentic, to be truly who you are. Therapy is supposed to be about growth, not about fixing anything. And a lot of times the one reason why most Black people don't agree is, so you're gonna fix 400 years of this with 1 hour of therapy
in 1 hour session.
Get the fuck out of here. No, absolutely not. But if I'm sitting here on this journey, I'm saying, hey, I'm gonna create this adjacent space where we can grow and we can thrive, and we can see more of us come out of that. And then we can start talking about emotions. We can start talking about where we are cognitively, where we want to be, talking about how do we have the psychological flexibility to get where we need to go. I mean, essentially that is the thing that is really missing. It's not the fact that we don't know this. It's just the fact that we are saturated in an environment that speaks to individualism, consumerism, capitalism, and all those traditional paradigms that the black man that have had to go through before us has had to do to survive to get to where they are, whether it's fight or flight. That's the thing. So for me, the next thing that we have to do is we have to get more comfortable just talking about not mental health, mental wellness. Health is synonymous with illness, wellness, which is what people really want. Some people aren't ready for therapy, but some people don't know what therapy is. Some people don't know what modalities are there, and some people just don't have the information. So they have not enough information to know that I don't want to go there. But I want to encourage anybody who's watching, like, or just listening to us rap, like the conversation it has to do with us on the call as well. Like I'm gonna wholeheartedly admit, just having a little vulnerable moment. I'm sitting in the hospital because my daughter is here, and who has multiple medical issues. Who after six days of being born has had to have open heart surgery, and now I'm sitting here trying to play House MD. And here's the funny thing. Listen.
Yeah.
Last week I did a workshop on self-regulation here, and I'm sitting here in this place right now trying to self-regulate. Because what I don't want to do is I don't want them to believe the traditional paradigm. I don't want them to believe that eventually that this is unmanageable. I can't self-regulate. I don't have the emotional capacity to be able to withstand difficult situations or being talked to like, well, with these type of kids, and when we really work with kids and have to stare straight because you don't know my kid, but you want to tell me about all the other kids too. The importance of self-regulation, and I'm just going to leave those two words here, is essentially the thing that we need for mental wellness. It's not searching out, finding out what horoscope is telling us who we are. It's actually deciding who we want to be and where we want to go from there. And it has to be about growth. The last thing I'll say is this. Psychosocial stages of development by Erickson states this: 12 to 18 is identity versus confusion. 18 to 40 is isolation versus intimacy. 40 to 65 is general relativity, the availability to see what you're doing in the world, and stagnation. I want you to look at those three generations of Black folks, and I ask Black men to look at those three generations and ask the question: when will we put the authority down of saying that we need authority and have a conversation about where we are in these dichotomies of these situations, where we have brothers who isolate, who need to be connected, or we have brothers who want to see where their place is in the world, but they feel stuck, or the young individuals who are confused about who they are, who are searching for an identity that's authentic to them without you telling them who they are. That's what we need.
Right.
You just answer the questions I had wrote.
Me and Cecil are going to do. We're going to introduce self-regulation, hopefully, in Kansas City, the court systems, and a bunch of other stuff. And so I would add to what he's saying is, we have a problem with being honest with one another. Again, individualism versus collective. Like I was on the radio with somebody, and I had told them, and it was somebody, it was a pastor of a church, and I said, yeah, I understand structural and institutional racism. I understand what that is, but we still have a responsibility and duty to each other to say, hey, this is what it is. And this was his response. And we was on Hot 103 or Hot 103 Jams or something. And he said, but Johnny, they're gonna get mad at me if I say that. And so we get trapped. And again, when we talk about, we get trapped in this thing to where I can't tell you X, Y, Z because I fear your reaction to it. right? And so I will let you turn into a crash test dummy, and then I'll go back and be like, "See, I told you, that boy Chris is there." Like, yeah, but I'm not gonna tell you because I'm fearful of what that reaction may be, and we have got to stop doing that to each other. If you see me doing 160 toward a brick wall, bro, I'm gonna need you to say something.
Real talk.
I need you to say something. And if I don't even respond the way that you think I should respond, that's okay. But I implore you, say something to me. And we have got to start saying stuff to each other to help us, or else we're going to continue to do. We're going to continue to be in the same situation and repeat this behavior, and obviously, again, given the climate of today, that is not conducive to African Americans moving forward.
Nah, not at all. But here's what I want everybody to say now. So clearly we haven't done a great job of self-regulating up to now. That's a fantastic between those two words, self-regulation and what was and mental wellness versus mental health. Words matter. I'm a word guy, so I love that. So the thing that I want everybody to leave the people with, like as a call to action, let's say, right? We need resources. We need tools. What I need everybody to give me a tool, right? Give me a tool that will help me to self-regulate my own mental wellness in a time of crisis. Just something. It doesn't have to be convoluted. It doesn't have to be complex. It can be real simple. It can be as simple as, bro, just take a second to breathe, take a beat, step back, and just breathe. It can be as simple as that. I'm not particular, just give me a tool that I can use, because if everybody gets enough tools, we can just go through our little, tool belt and find one that works for a lot of different situations. So give me a tool, Phoenix.
I was thinking just deploying emotional intelligence. And I think that's something that we probably grow, we get as we get older, especially if you hadn't had a government figure in your household teaching you that growing up. So I would always kind of piggyback on what you were saying. I just know that if you react a certain way, the consequences might be dire. So like you said, take a minute, think that shit through, and then and think about what the consequences could be. Like you got to think of all that shit through. That's it. Yeah.
Johnny.
Well, I got to do this because this is who I am. Please contact us at the Kansas City Black Mental Health. And contact a professional. I can give you 100 tools, but Cecil is better equipped to do that.
I just want one.
Yeah, that was it.
Contact.
So your tool is for me to call Cecil.
No.
Pretty much.
No, we have an entire organization, so it's not calling Cecil. There are other therapists. You might need substance abuse. There's a bunch of different stuff. So, but if you are looking to take that first step, I'm saying reach out to the Kansas City Black Mental Health Initiative.
Okay, I understand what you're saying, and I agree with every syllable you said. What I'm saying is, though, as a black man who is unlicensed, I realize that you have no credentials. You ain't got all. You don't have 1/7 of the letters that Cecil got in his thing, right? I get that. What I'm saying, as somebody who has been through things and has had to overcome things, give me a tool from your life experience that would help me.
Bro, didn't you call me? So call a friend. Call a friend, sir.
Okay. There we go.
It's good too.
Not just any friend.
That part.
not just any friend. Let me look to the camera. Not just any friend.
I'm saying too. I'm saying it with you in unison. Not just any
Not
friend.
just any friend.
A friend that A, has your best interest at heart. Let's start right there. 2, someone who is somewhat competent. You know, don't pick your when you're going through. And I guess
don't call it Eddie. Don't call it dude that's gonna be like, what do you do? Let's go slide on him. Like, don't call it. Like,
not him.
We'll call that one.
Not him. No, not him. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you are ready to crash out, don't call your crash out homeboy, right? Everybody has that 2 feet to the ground homeboy, that very grounded partner that you don't talk to that often because he says too many logical things. Like, he says too many things that make too much damn sense. You don't call him a lot because, man, now I gotta listen to him tell me all this stuff about breathing and calming down and conflict resolution and things like that. And am I avoiding right now? Am I being aggressive? Am I dealing with force? I don't want to talk to him. Talk to that dude. That's the dude you want to talk to, not just any friend.
So Johnny's gonna call me and tell everybody else to call me. So yeah,
we all gonna call you.
Yeah.
We all gonna call you. Like, eventually, the last step of the resource is we all gonna call Cecil.
I mean, I get it. I get it.
But give me your
okay. So I'm
your and for real, and this is gonna sound crazy, but I don't want I want a Cecil one. I don't want a clinical tool. I don't want a clinical tool. No, hold up. I don't want a clinical tool. I want a Cecil based on my life tool. This is my tool.
Hold up, Cecil. Don't say nothing. I'm going to point this out to you because this is really important, and I'm going to let Cecil say that. Words matter. And so if you listen to what you just said, like, that is part of when we talk about people being crazy, that boy off the chain, when we say stuff like that, it further enhances the separation that we have or people seeking help. So even the smallest things that we say, like, hey, oh boy, God, crazy. Like, that is part of the stigma, that is part of our culture that prevents us from getting help. And so words really do matter. And so we have got to, if we really want to change things, we have got to find different words to use to convey what it is that we're saying, instead of perpetuating a stereotype or a cultural deficiency that we have in our collective.
What did I say that made you say that?
Don't call the homeboy that'll crash you out.
No, he said, don't call this crazy.
So I got you.
I said, don't call what crazy?
Don't call the crazy person. Don't call the one you know that is that.
Yeah,
way.
you crazy.
No, I said crash out.
Yeah, don't
no,
call
crazy. We gonna watch this, bro. Just
so hey, I appreciate it. Look, I'm gonna take here. I'm gonna speak from me. I'm not gonna speak from the clinical. I'm gonna sprinkle. I'm gonna take everything that y'all said. So this is the best way to do it. So this is called a choice point, where we get to a point where we have to make a choice. And the thing that I want to lean into is I'm going to lean into the fact that we do need people to understand their emotions. So, because we need to understand where our feelings and thoughts are actually hooked to something, right? I don't know where you but
hold up, repeat that.
Gotcha. I'm on it.
Yeah.
So this is called, everybody comes to a choice point where we got to make a choice. And a lot of times when when people are more or less not in tune with their emotions, their feelings and thoughts are often hooked to the situation, which often takes them away from the outcome that they want, or acting the way that they want to act. Their feelings and thoughts get in the way. It's often hooked to the challenges situations they're going through. On the other side of that, I have the choice to lean on my values. Now here it comes in where you and Johnny were more or less talking about, like, what considerable values you have. And the words become more subjective. For example, I value respect. But the thing is, between the four of us, how we define respect will be different. How your crash out partner defines crashing out will be different than how you define crashing out. So if you call your crash out partner will be like, yeah, man, light it on fire. Oh, I didn't even think of doing that one.
Right.
So the reason why I put it to you in this context is I want to give you this story. I want to be able to say, on this side, you have your values. Now, your values are those subjective words, but the way that they don't become subjective is when you have expectations of them for yourself. For example, four of us are out at 2 o'clock in the morning. We chilling, we vibing, everything's going cool. Three of you say to me, hey man, we need to go to the strip club. We gonna keep this party going. Now here's the thing, my feelings and thoughts is telling me, yeah, oh yeah, let's do that. I think I can do that. I feel like that would be a great thing to do. I wanna go bad. But then when I look on the other side and I look at my values, and I look at healthy relationships as a value. But here's the funny thing, it's not the projection I have on the person that I'm in a relationship with to say, hey, in order for us to be in a healthy relationship, I need you to blank. That's not it. It's the expectations I have for myself. So I say to my guys, I say, yo, I'm feeling this. I want to do it. I know I can make a way around it. But a nigga like me though, I have an expectation of having this healthy relationship, and I ain't trying to mess that up. So I go this way, and I get the outcome that I want. Now, y'all might be like, man, but the thing is that my feelings and thoughts ain't in it. My values is in it, and what I value is the thing that's important to me. So I leave everybody with this one tool. What do you define as your values? Loyalty, respect, honor, family, your relationships. Identify that, because everybody has those values. Now, ask yourself this question. What expectations do you have of your values? Not what expectations you have for anybody else, because half the time that we get into conflict and start really thinking and feeling, especially us brothers, is when we project those expectations on the other people. If I feel like you disrespected me, then I'm coming after you. But here's the thing, I never told you what my expectation for respect was.
Mm-hmm. Good point.
So what I need, my tool that I leave everyone here is that you already have values, whether they're hanging up in your house or whether you have a code. But I need you to define those expectations for you so that you can live the way that you want to. Because if you're waiting for someone else to define them, or if you're waiting for your value to be able to move like a goalpost, then that means your feelings and your thoughts are in it, and they don't need to be. Until we can learn how to manage our emotions or what those are, then we need to lean on our values in the hard situations that we in. Period.
Hey, so that's a great way to end that segment. All right, let's get to some shameless plugs and shout outs. Shameless plug, Johnny. Hey man, if you don't go,
I ain't finna say nothing, brother. I feel like, you know what? I'm gonna just wait my turn. I'm gonna let everybody.
It's your turn right now. We go.
I'm gonna just let everybody. I'm gonna let. Anyway, go to Kansas City Black Mental Health Initiative if you want to learn more. That is the executive director over there, Cecil Washer, good friend of mine. We do a lot of work in Kansas City. So that's the plug I'm gonna make sure I ain't gonna plug nothing else today, but with that.
I'm gonna double onto his plug. Go to kcbmhi.org. Learn how to give help. In other words, whether you want to provide support, volunteer, or get help. In other words, if you want to become a member, if you're a private practitioner and you want to, work at, we have workforce development as well. We want to make sure that you guys get your CEUs, and we want to make sure that we provide education that is, Black-centered, that actually centers around us. We want to make more of us we want to support the ones we got, and we want to make more of us. We want to have the paradigm shift not just in Kansas City, but in all Black spaces of what we're trying to do, which is to help our community self-regulate, because we don't need anybody else regulating us. My biggest plug right now is to make sure that you look for our wellness events. We will be having wellness events all over the city. We have partnerships to ensure that we're taking care of that basic need, making sure that you have groceries to go home with, because we don't feel like we can address a social need unless we're addressing a basic need first. That's Maslow's hierarchy of needs. We want to meet that need first. So come find out more about us. Join the cause. Membership is free until Juneteenth, and it's half off for the rest of the year, because we have to start to invest in ourselves, and our Black community needs to invest in its own mental wellness. And Scrap, shout out. Thanks for the opportunity. Thanks for the availability to just be able to speak. We are doing other stuff in the city. Please learn more about the other stuff that we're doing, especially if you're involved. If I can help you in any way, shape, or form unravel yourself from the situation you're in, I will do so. But come work with me over here. We are community based. I'll leave it there.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm gonna always give a shout out to all the Black entrepreneurs out here. Definitely go support them. Take a look at them, research them. And of course, all services are not created equal. Find out the one that meets your expectations. Okay. Specifically, I want to give a shout out to International Supply Partners out of Atlanta, Black owned. What do they do? It's like a diverse supplier group. Just something that, a lot of us, I never would have thought about commodities on that level. And I'm getting exposed to it's a diverse group of people, man. And just know that, like you said, we all don't have to be on the streets. We all don't have to, fit into the same box. There's so many ways to make money out here. Just find a lane and go hard in the paint. That's it.
What, man?
I'm gonna say this too. If anybody says something, any one of us, and you need a definition or something, like ask or look it up.
That part.
Because I really think that, as we talk, especially if you listen to me and Cecil talk, it's
yeah.
So if you need anything, or if you wanna understand what it is that one of these terms mean, or go deeper in it, you can always reach out to us. We are very easy to find, or you can always use that computer in your pocket, which is your cell phone. Google is a good way. And I'm gonna say this: learn about internal and external locus of control. Just because Cecil said that. And you will, if you research that and you begin to look at yourself, and then what Cecil said, you will learn a wealth of information about is this internally, or is this dictated by external sources? And so just look up some of this stuff, and you'll be fascinated at what you learn, because we all learn new stuff every day.
So one of the things that I've learned about the study of psychology, about the study of human behavior and things of that nature, and just about learning new stuff. You're telling people to learn new stuff, and then you mentioned locus of control, like, no shade on nobody, but what if they can't spell locus? What if they don't necessarily know what you're saying? It's like they may spell locust, and next thing you know, they looking up winged animals. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, like, and this is a transparent moment for me. When I was trying to figure out this this video crap, and I went out and then you was talking about landlines, right? Negro, my whole life that landlines have been a thing, that people have been saying landlines. I thought it was LAND. I thought everybody was saying land lines. I didn't know it was LAN. Had no idea. Had no idea. Had no idea. You know,
we're all learning. We're all learning.
We're all learning.
We're all learning. I'm just.
I had no idea.
We're all learning. I'm just. Gonna
so that's what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying? Like I may know, and it's just about people's wheelhouse. Like that wasn't in my wheelhouse at the time. I'm not ashamed to say it. I don't give a damn. I thought it was landline my whole life. You know what I'm saying?
My father works at AT&T, and I just heard that.
Exactly. You know what I'm saying? You dig? And then there's things there's other parts of the human experience that I can wax poetic about for hours. So you know, that's the differentiation of things, right? So like in the event that people don't know what locus of control is, spell it.
No, locus of control.
No, just
hey, I'm gonna say this. If you if you using a term like locus of control, don't type it if you don't know. I think it's LOCUS, locus of control. Don't type it. Just say it into your phone. Hit the microphone button and just say locus of control. It'll pop up instantly because I
got old school partners that ain't about to do that.
So I'm gonna solve for something. Cecil at kcbmhi.org. If you have any questions about any of the terminology or mental health things that we discussed today, like I want to be able to answer your questions. I'm always eager. I'm also an adjunct professor. I teach at School of Social Work as well as criminal justice. So I want to make sure people understand. And I'm always eager for those who are motivated to understanding more. So feel free to reach out to me. That's my email address. Just ask me.
What school you teach at, Cecil?
At the University of Missouri, Kansas City. Yes, and I will be entering into a doctorate, the doctorate of social welfare program at KU.
I've seen that. Congratulations, my brother.
Appreciate it.
Absolutely. With that said, we are gonna go ahead and slide out. I appreciate all my panelists for coming on here tonight. Cecil using 1/7 of the alphabet in his thing, you know. My guy Johnny and Phoenix. As always, I appreciate y'all, man. To everybody that tuned in tonight. Tune in next week. Notoriously Opinionated is unscripted and unfiltered. Next Wednesday night, same notorious time, same notorious station. All month long, we will be talking about the mental health issues that have been issues and have been plaguing the Black community for centuries. And
we can talk about gaslighting.
So I mean, and that's part of it. So yeah, we'll get in. We can get into whatever we want to get into, and we got a month to do it. You know what I'm saying? We got a month of these shows to get into it, and we can hit different aspects of it every week. So if it's a certain part that you want to hear about, if it's a certain point that you want to talk about, if it's a certain point that you want to expound on, hit me up, let me know, and we'll get to it. But until then, tune in Notoriously Opinionated next Wednesday, 8 p.m. Same notorious time, same notorious station. And until then, peace. We out.